Hey, Composing Gloves here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this sound. It is a bass sound. It is a sampled bass sound. It sounds like this. And then in the context of loop, so this was sort of a request. Someone was wondering how to make a sound like this, and the example they showed me was slightly different. It's because of the sampled material they had. So all you have to do is find a sample more like that. It sounded like someone saying dong or like dong dong, and then they just pitched it down a bunch and did a couple of things to it. So let's talk about those couple things because we're gonna be focusing on this sound. So that is my sound. Now the original sound sounded like this. So I was looking for someone going hum or something like that, some sort of hum sound. And if I come over here to my files over here, I've got there's a free gospel sample pack. Anyways, it's covered in my free samples playlist where you can actually go and download just all these choir samples for free. And so I was digging through there hoping there was something, and then I couldn't find anything really. But then I started digging through the loops and I found that him going right there, and I was like, that's it, that's what I need. So I took it out just like this, and then I come over here and I looked at it and I said, this is what I need. Oh, holy crap. It's been time stretched back to and like that. So let's go back to where it was. Cool. So I need that, right? And let's take this off. Sorry, I've got all sorts of junk going on. Okay, so I was like, I needed that. And so I'm going to chop it up and just go over here. I've got generic crossfading on. Or generic bleeding, I mean, not crossfading. And so that just prevents clicking and junk. So I'm going to move it up. And so I took that. Now, when I first took it, I accidentally took the snap too, and that became an issue. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of the snap right now. So, and next we're going to just, now this is a very important step. You need to make it unique as a sample. You don't want to clone it, because if you clone it, you'll get the whole rest of the audio file. It won't work. So we're going to make it unique as a sample, and we're going to hit yes, and we're going to name this, our sample. Okay, cool. So we have our sample, and as you see, it appears here on our audio clips page, but I'm on my all page, so it appears in my all page in my channel rack. And you have that, and I still have some of that freaking snap click thing. So I'm going to hit not Control R, Control E, and that brings up this file in Edison, as long as this one was the thing in focus. And we're just going to select from like right here on and play that. So, and did my audio just die? No, my audio is still working. I don't know what the deal is, but anyways, we're going to take this, drag it in there. That's fine. So what we're going to do now is we have that click at the beginning, and if I was really being really specific and I wanted that tight attack, which it sounds like he sort of has on his, then what you need to do is you drag it on, and then you'd take care of that attack, and then you'd resave that as a sample and drag it in. I'm going to do another method, the one I used before. I'm simply going to adjust the envelope in. Actually, this one's far less tight than... Let's try normalizing it. So you get that. And now let's do the other method, because this is less awesome than I thought it was going to be. Okay, cool. So we have this issue with the very beginning, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take it, we're going to automate the volume, and we're essentially going to just apply our own little declicking filter. And so we're going to just come in here and do something like this. And play it back from over here. We're missing our attack, I guess, just by a smidge. Hold Alt to get off the grid. Now, occasionally you're going to want to get more specific, like I do right now. So go to your project tab by hitting F11 and then going over to the project tab. Change your thing to 960 post per quarter, and that will allow you to zoom in a lot farther. So we're going to do that and zoom in uber farther, and we're going to apply something sort of like that. So there you go. It's gone now. So what we're going to do is we are going to put an Edison on the master, which I think there's already one on the master. And we are going to turn it on. I believe it has to be on for this. I've never really bothered to see. Turn it on, play, hit record, and then simply play. There we go. We have our thing. And now we're going to take it and drag it out. There we go. So we have our hum-2, which is this guy, which is more or less what we want. So Now what we're gonna do is now we can pitch it around and do all sorts of stuff. Now on the original, I got a little more complicated, and I spent more time nailing down exactly what sample I wanted. But this guy, he's okay. And what we're gonna do is we need to just pitch him down to the correct notes. So this one is a little confusing because in the process of pitching, I was actually sampling something I had pitched down. So if we took this, I actually took this, like sampled it down to like 400 or 500 with the various mode. I don't remember what mode. And then you see how cool that sounds. And so then I use that. So these notes that I have are actually weird notes because they're not written they're not transposed through the correct key. So don't worry about that. We're going to write some new notes. So we just need to write something that sounds kind of cool, right? And I've already adjusted the tempo to 70 because this stuff is always kind of slow. And so what we're going to do, there's lots of room, space. It's all about atmosphere, right? So make sure that when you do this, that our time over here is at 0 because that will cause the sample to play back at the correct pitch if it's slightly off. So we have that, right? So and we're gonna. That sounds pretty okay. I'm not digging this second half of this thing. See, this is the tough part. Let's go ahead. Let's just go all the way with this. So let's come in here. Let's take off that second part and just cut it. And hit Shift M and drag it out. So we get a little bit of that. So we don't want that much, right? So we're going to hold down Alt and drag it in just a smidge. So we get a more usable length. And then let's go ahead. And it's been pitch shifted down. Let's do 500. Let me see what my original hum was. Let's see. It's pitched bended down like 400. Let's do 400. Hopefully the notes will line up. Okay, cool. So we have that. And I know I'm replicating this weird thing just because. But now we're going to record that, right? So we'll record that. And we're just treating our sample with the utmost care. It's trying to get the best one possible. And that's all we need. And we're going to simply select that and take it out. There we have our hum sample. Cool. So now what we're going to do is we are going to go and add in our notes. Now there's a little bit of processing that follows, of course. So we're going to go to our all channel and go to our pattern 6 because that's the one with all the notes. I'm going to take hum 3 and copy it. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to clone this pattern, and I'm just going to cut it out, and then I'm going to paste it into our hum 3, which is the one we just had. Now, all things hopefully are in the correct spots. So if we play this. Cool. So that's what we have. I know it doesn't sound like much quite yet, but that's because we haven't mixed or mastered, or not mastered. Mastering wouldn't even matter with this. Like later on down the chain, of course, we consider, but this is just like mixing and being cool in effects. So I send this one to 22. I'm going to just go ahead and send this to 22 as well. So on mixer track 22, I have, oh, what the heck? I did not send that thing to 22. Where's my original hum? Is this it? It's on mixer track 1. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're going to send this to 1. Which is usually my kick channel, but I was just doing this sound. So I have an EQ with a little boost. And I've got a wave shaper. Now, without the wave shaper, it just doesn't have that quite pop out the same way. This is a very light distortion. It adds just a tinge of sparkle to it, lets it poke through just a little bit more. So I really dig that. And then, of course, there is a massive reverb. So even though our thing chops off like wow, like just like that, now it bleeds through and over. It's very obvious in the track that I was given as an example that was sort of a thing that happened as well. Now there's another method where you try and stretch the sample out, the envelope of the sample out, but then you want to get a really like high res file because you want a lot of sample points so that when you stretch it, it doesn't artifact like ours was artifacting. So ours, yeah, so just that's the thing. Now, I'm not sure what rate I had on mine. I just picked a file. So for all I know, I believe it's a wave. I think it's a 4401 wave. I didn't check though. So here it is. And that's with ours now. So we've put it through the reverb. Now on the reverb, let's talk about this. So the wave shaper looks like this. Now there's a dot here. This dot's important for timbral reasons. So it's not a huge change, but this essentially controls the brighter side of the sample. This controls more of the mids and lows. And so I boosted this one a little bit more than this one. And there's some interesting implications where you put stuff in the middle. But that's pretty much what's going on there. The resonance is pretty obvious. And then the size has been turned up. I think I just turned the wet and dry up and turned the decay up. I think that's actually all I did. So this is with our sample. So let's make sure it's with our sample. Let's go to ours, 7. So here it is with our sample. It's a little loud. The notes sound a little off on this one too, but we see that we have this sh at the end, and I'm not digging that too much. So an easy fix is just come into Edison by hitting Control E and getting rid of it. And then let's see if that fixed it. I think it did. Nope, still in there just a smidge. Let's hear it. It's right around there. So we'll get rid of that. Okay, cool. And then we drop it in. And it's still there. Anyways, you'd go through and you'd get it out. Unless you want it. A lot of times you'll stress over these small details, and then in the end, it ends up just making it sound cooler. So why bother? But another option is we could come into our EQ. Now, with the EQ side of things, might not be worth it. We notice that because if you cut them, then you're going to be cutting important frequencies and other things. So we could get a little more complicated. And I'm going to hit F8. There's a free plugin called TDR Nova. And we noticed that those sounds get louder at the very end. So what we could do is this is a multi-band. It's called the dynamic EQ. But basically what we can do is we can set a threshold and turn down the volume of those annoying frequencies only when they get loud. And they're sort of loud, and they actually probably come down into this range some too. And let's turn on our analyzer just so we can... So that's our frequencies that we are after, right? So we're going to set our threshold like down here and our frequency up. Adjust the Q as well. We don't want to be touching that lower stuff, even though we're sort of touching it, but we're basically trying to color it. It's probably okay. There's a little bit in there. If you wanted to be really particular, you'd have to go back to your source material and fix it up. But this is one option. You want to be careful about creating big resonant boosts right there. That'll just eat your headroom later on down the line. So I haven't given too much thought to the whole mixing side. I've mostly just tried to make it fit in the track, which is technically mixing, but I'm not giving attention to mixing with other elements. That's the mixing that makes your song sound clear and good. I'm just looking at it from a piece by piece standpoint. But anyways, that's how I made that bass. That's how you sort of sample a thing. And I added this. I don't know if it'll work or not. This was sort of an experiment, just a little resonance boost. Not resonance boost, but just sort of just another synth to layer in with it, because originally I was trying to synthesize it, and then I was like, there's no way I'm going to get that do sound in there, or the ding or dong, or whatever sound that is. So it might be worth layering in there very subtly just to reinforce it, so you can hear it like it's in there and it creates a subtle effect. Before it was just way too loud. But some people would like to have this bass just by itself. They wouldn't want the sample. I personally think this is a pretty cool vibe. So if you have any questions, let me know. Subscribe, support me on Patreon, and have a blessed day.